We're going to talk about the wrist today, a part of our body that we tend to kind of ignore until we get it injured. So I want to help you keep it conditioned to prevent any injuries, or if you do have injuries, I'll show you some modifications that you can use. So here's a test to kind of know your range. So if you bring your forearms, your inner forearms together, and you stick your fingers out, and you can see that mine are in kind of a Y, that's my range. Now some people may be able to bring it all the way out to a T, and it could be because they've worked it more, or also that they were born with a little bit more mobility in that particular joint. But it's just kind of nice to know where you're at, and you can test this from time to time. So let's warm them up a little bit. So bring your hands into a fist and just start rotating your wrist around. And we have a tendency sometimes when we warm up our wrists, we start getting the elbows involved a little bit. And that's not what we want to do here. We really want to focus on that joint down there. And then rotate in the other direction. Okay, and then bring your fingertips all the way down so that your palms are facing towards the floor and out towards the camera, the video. And then bring your fingertips in and move them up. You might feel a little bit of a stretch on the outer forearm, and then bring them back down and open the fingertips out again. And then bring them back in and move it back up. Now let's do that one more time. So bring them down, fingertips down towards the floor, and then rotate them up. Okay, and then just press them down and kind of notice how they feel. Let's bring our arms out to a T, and again, palms are facing down and you're clasping a fist. Now bring your fist, your knuckles down towards the floor, and then lift them up towards the sky. And do it real slow so you can notice the different muscles, the inner and outer portions of your forearms that are working. And relax your shoulders, because this is really not about the shoulders, it's all about the wrist again. And then one more time down, and then come on back up. And then bring your hands out to a high five. So if you have a high five and you're going out, yeah, you may feel this a little bit into your shoulders, but notice again what's going on with the forearms as you're holding it out. And then bring your fingertips down. And again, notice how the different part of your forearm is working. And then bring it back in and pause and notice how they feel again. So let's come around to tabletop. And bring your hands down towards the floor, and obviously you line up your wrist towards your shoulder and just start swaying side to side, getting familiar with how you load your weight onto your hands, onto your wrist, and then move forward and back. Again, getting acquainted with when you move forward, where you feel it on your wrist, your forearms. And then just to get a little bit more exercise, come up onto your fingertips. So you're like suction cupping the floor. And just hold it there. And see if you can do little push-ups with just your fingers. Okay, so you're doing little tiny push-ups with just moving your fingers up and down. Moving up and down. Getting those fingers involved now, getting the hand strength. It's all part of it down there, isn't it? And then bring your palms down to the floor and see if you can do the opposite. So lift your fingers up and down, up and down. And you can feel that possibly on the back side and then all the way up and down the front part of your forearm, just up and down. Very interesting. And then sit back a minute and rotate your arms, and again, your wrist, and notice how they're starting to warm up. All right, so coming back to tabletop, let's take our fingertips out to the side, kind of like a seal, right? Isn't this how a seal does it? And just kind of notice the difference when you're out this way. And you can always sway side to side to familiarize yourself with where the different sensations are going. And then take your fingertips inside and just notice what's going on. Again, side to side. And obviously experiment with pressing your different fingers down and how the different structures work when you have this range of mobility, when you do different things. Okay, now here's a fun one. Bring your fingertips all the way back. And be careful on this one. If you start to feel any kind of cramping, Charlie horse, stop. And the more you sit back, the more stretch I think you'll feel. And then you'll have more of a load if you come forward. And just gently moving to get into where you want it in this particular stretch. And have your fan your fingers out a little bit. All right, now here's another one. So bring the tops of your hand to the floor. And you really want, this is where you really want to stretch your fingers out. So you can get kind of limp here because it's a very awkward position. There's really only one yoga position that I know of that you use your hands like this. And see if you can bring your palms up to the sky. So you're not moving your fingers, but you're moving that center part of your palm up. And you'll get a little bit more of a stretch. All right, and then come on back down. And again, notice how you feel. You can certainly roll it around a little bit. It's good information. So for folks that may be injured, okay, and then obviously you might have a feeling right up in here in the crease. When you come down, you feel it when you move forward. And what you ultimately want to do is have, again, that palm up off the ground. This is why I brought the towel in. So you can have a towel or a blanket or anything to kind of make, what I'm making here is kind of a speed bump that you can put under your mat, and I'm just showing you on top, because what you want to do is have the palm on top of whatever you have there, the towel, and your fingers hanging over, so that when you do go into a plank, you're up a little bit and you're pressing your hands down. This is one good thing. The other thing too, the cue that we always have is pressing that index and thumb into the floor. Maybe rotate your hand out a little bit. This might feel a little bit better for you. And again, pressing the index and thumb down. Whatever works for you in this particular position. So again, come back down and let's just circle our wrist again just to ease them out after doing this little mini wrist course, and roll around the other way, and then pause and focus on your wrist and notice how they feel.